going to start with the West first. I think it's going to be some very compelling series out there. I think there's some teams that's going to get nicked along the way. But I'm gonna stick with the chalk. I'm gonna say the Suns is gonna beat the Grizzlies, but I'm gonna say the Suns win it because of the experience. I think having been there before, battle tested, and in clutch situations, they're almost unbeatable. Now I understand, I know what Ja, and I know how good the Grizz are. Without Ja, they're even better with Ja. But I just think with the bodies that they can throw at him, be it Bridges, be it Crowder, they got a lot of guys that can get up into him. But the thing that makes the Grizzlies so tough to beat, Skip, is that they got a lot of guys. I mean, they're not superstars, quote unquote, like Ja, but they got a lot of guys that can make plays. Bane can make plays. You know, Dylan Brooks can make plays, and he can D. They got the big guy in the middle. You know, Big Adams going to rebound, go to defend, go set great picks so Ja can get downhill. They got Melton. They got guys coming off the bench that can make plays. But I just think with Chris Paul, and I think one of the reasons why they're so good in clutch situations is because they got Chris Paul, who's an all-time great point guard, who's always going to get you in the best situation possible. They got a guy in D-Book that's unafraid, that is not afraid to take big shots and big moments and make them, and neither is Chris Paul. Chris Paul's going to get downhill, he's going to get to his spot, and he's going to elevate. And I love the way Ayton is playing. Ayton is playing, so y'all don't want to give me this max contract. But somebody going to give me a max contract after what they see me do in the regular season and what I'm about to do in the postseason. So I'm going to take the Suns. I'm going to say they win a close series over the Grizzlies. And in the East, Skip, I think the second-round matchup might be the best series of the entire Eastern Conference playoffs, because I believe it will be the Milwaukee Bucks taking on the Boston Celtics. And that's going to be a heck of a matchup. I believe it's going to go 7 games, but I believe the Bucks with their big three of Giannis, Holiday, and Middleton will be enough. Both teams very, very deep with Portis and Lopez back. I love what Milwaukee's done. So I'm going to say Milwaukee over the Heat in the East. I'm going to say the Suns over the Grizzlies in the West. And I'm going to, you know what, Skip? I think it's going to play out again. I'm going to say the Bucks over the Suns in the NBA Finals.
Rock Chalk Jayhawk says Shannon Sharpe, if I did not know better, I would have thought you went to Kansas.
Well, you know, but Skip, I did not know Vegas had the same matchup last night.
It's just a coincidence.
Man, I ain't got time. I ain't betting. So why do I care what Vegas is doing? I'm not betting. You must be thinking I'm Mattress Jack or whatever his name is.
Shannon Sharpe says, run it back.
Run it back.
Just put the tape in of last year and let's just watch it again, right?
I think that's what's going to happen.
Okay. While you're rocking the chalk, I am sashaying out to the end of a very thin limb.
No, you're not.
Yes,
no,
I
you're
am.
not. No,
And that limb underneath me right now, I can hear it starting to crack. And it's a long fall down, and I could look like a fool before this is over, but I don't think so. So here I go. I'm going to plunge. No chalk for me. You can have all the chalk you want. I like Diet Dew better than chalk.
Okay.
Okay, before I plunge, I have one caveat.
No!
One asterisk. I picked the Nets before the season started.
Yes!
And I will stick with the Nets only if I see that by games, I don't know, 2, 3, 4, if I see that Ben Simmons is making a legitimate contribution on a nightly basis, which I have serious doubts about. In fact, I don't believe it until I see it. They say he hasn't done anything yet. Is he going to go 5-on-5? I don't know what he's doing. Does he really have a bad back? Does he have a bad psyche? I don't know what he's got. But if you show me, if you demonstrate by games 4, 5, and 6, that he is making a legitimate contribution on defense, a defense alone, every single night, I'm talking about 15 to 20 quality minutes where I say, oh, I see you. I get that. That is the missing link to a championship team, because they lost James Harden and they had to replace him with another member of a big three that has a completely different skill set than James does. We're going to talk about James in a few minutes. I think he's going to be a liability for Joel Embiid. I love Ben Simmons. I love the fit of Ben Simmons much better than James in this group, but I need him to actually be able to contribute. And I don't know that. If you can tell me a yes or no, I'll do it right here.
No, but Skip, you can't use the caveat, because now you're going to say, see, well, they didn't have Ben Simmons.
Okay, well, how do I know?
It doesn't matter.
I said it on the day of the trade. I said, this is a big home run for the Nets. They got 3 starters for James Harden, and they got the starter that they needed. a back-to-back first-team all-defensive player in Ben Simmons, 6'10", long, agile, and what he did to little Trae Young in that Game 7, it was spectacular. It wasn't enough, but 5 of 23, he was all over. He can guard little point guards.
But that was after Trae Young had basically averaged 30 for the series, so he kept him quiet in Game 7.
Okay.
But for the series, Trae Young had averaged 30.
All right, but I'm just saying, I don't know. I don't believe it, so I can't pick the Nets right now.
So who you picking?
Okay, now here we go. Let's go back to the West.
You're not going to just stick with East?
No, I'm going to go West first.
Okay.
I will save my East for later.
Okay.
Build the tension.
Okay.
That's what you do in TV.
Okay.
In the West, I have been raving about Memphis all year long.
You have.
And I'm sorry, the harder I look, the more I see. To your point, they went 20-5 without Ja.
Uh-huh.
And they were really good, but it's not like, oh, they're better without Ja. No, they're even better with Ja.
Yeah.
To your point. I can't find a flaw. I can't find a reason not to pick them even over Phoenix. Phoenix had an all-time great year.
Yeah.
They had such a good year that I was making the case that somebody on that team deserves some MVP, at least recognition, and they're getting none. I thought Devin Booker should have been the MVP.
Skip, they might have won 70 games had Chris Paul not gotten injured.
I got it. I agree. I got it. Monty Williams, runaway coach of the year. Way to go.
Yeah.
I give you all the above. This Memphis team has arrived right before your very eyes, and I just look at the numbers. Okay, they're fourth in defense. That'll work.
Yes.
They're fourth in point differential. That'll really work. They're second in points scored per game. That'll work. Mm-hmm. And they're third in pace. So they are rushing it up the court.
Yeah.
And finally, on top of all that, the cherry on top, they're first in the NBA in rebounding. So they're not just run and gun.
Right.
They're a badass bunch.
Yes.
And now let me do your point first. I'm just going to read these names off, okay? This is how deep they go, to your point. Okay, so we start with Ja. I'm going down the scoring list on this team. We start with Ja, and then there's Dylan Brooks, who's about as badass a two-way player he's got in the league. And Desmond Bane, all he does is shoot 44% from three during the 44%? Jaren Jackson Jr. should be Defensive Player of the Year to me. Okay, that's just me. Steven Adams, what a great addition he was. He leads them in rebounds with double digits a game, 10 a game. DeAnthony Melton, every time I watch him, he gets better. I say, he looks like he's got star quality to me, right? Brandon Clark and little Tyus Jones and Zaire Williams.
Your guy,
and
Kyle Anderson.
all the way down to slow-mo. Kyle Anderson, all he does is play basketball. He just knows how to make basketball plays. And the guy I've raved about all year, John Contract, comes in and he's making 41% of his threes off the bench. And he comes in just completely fearless. I've got this. I'm going to shoot it every time, and I'm going to make it almost every time.
Right.
And that leads me to a quote that I read last night, actually early this morning, from Ja. This sums it up for me, because he was asked about, here come Pat Bev and the trash-talking T-Wolves, and they do talk some trash. And Anthony Edwards was saying after the game that they were afraid of me, talking about the Clippers. They're afraid? Yeah, right. I don't know if they're afraid of you, but if you think so, way to go. Here's Ja's response quote. "We ain't ducking no smoke. We run up the chimney." Love that quote. Somebody comes to this organization, they know we can't back down. That's soft person tendencies. We don't got no soft guys on this team. There ain't no running in the M, man. The M, I love that. That's the essence of who these guys are, because you want to talk about fearless, the whole team. They walk on the court with a body language that just says, we're here and we've arrived, and we're just better than you are, and we're about to show you. And if you don't like it, we'll do it to you and tell you about it.
It used to be the grind house, because they just grind you down.
No, it's not grinding anymore.
They had Zebo, they had Gasol, and they had Mike Conley. You know, you come to, and they were tough. But this team, they can get up and down. They can D you up because they're a big team. You know, you mentioned with Steven Adams, they got 16 and a half, Jaren Jackson Jr. So, yes, they can command the paint. Yes, they can challenge you inside because they got two guys that can protect the rim. Dylan Brooks can D up on the perimeter. Bane can D up on the perimeter. They got guys that can D you up, Skip. But I just think in the end, Chris Paul and Devin Brooks, is going to be a little bit too much for Memphis.
Okay, you could be right on just sheer experience.
Yeah.
Chris Paul could be the X factor difference maker. He's just been here and done it so many times, and he won me over for the first time ever against the Clippers last
that
year.
last game, that Saturday game.
Late third quarter, early fourth, that closeout game 6.
Yep.
It was just spectacular. Way to go, Chris. They couldn't get it done to get it home because Giannis just took over.
Yes.
And I thought Giannis made Ayton look like he's about, 5'11". In the finals. So we'll see how that plays out.
So if they get back to the finals, they're going to build a wall, or they're going to let Ayton go on him one-on-one again.
All right. But you still got Giannis again.
I still got Giannis again.
All right. Now back to my East pick. There's one team that has been hiding in plain sight all year atop the Heat. Right?
Yeah.
Okay. There's one team that is now laying in the weeds on top of the heap, right? And nobody's talking about the Miami Heat, who won the East by 2 games.
Right.
I have liked them all year. I told you from day one, I love the additions to this team. And now I look down their scoring list, and obviously Jimmy Butler is about as clutch a big game shooter, shot maker as there is in the league. I don't love him. I'm not sure I'd love playing with him. And they did have their incident, and I believe that incident was a north-south incident, and I think they went north off it. Okay. That's just me. Tyler Hero, talk about fearless coming in shooting it.
Oh, he's definitely sixth man of the year.
Yeah. Bam. He's just a force. He's not big, but he plays much bigger than he is. And then I thought Kyle Lowry was a great addition. He has not played to the level. He's not put up the numbers that I thought he would.
I agree.
But you want to talk about playoff guts and experience?
Right.
Victor Oladipo, I'm a big fan of his, and he has just now come back. And it's a small sample size, but look at what he's doing from three. He's making his threes like crazy. He's shooting 43% from three so far in just 8 games. But he's doing. Duncan Robinson hasn't had a great shooting year because everybody now doubles him because they don't want him to get off.
I think they're bringing him off the bench, and I forget where he was in the starting rotation. I think he's a role player now.
And then Strus, and then P.J. Tucker. Talk about a role player. If you need to D somebody up, he's the best defender I've ever seen on Kevin Durant. And we saw it last year in those 7 games. And then Markieff Morris. Maybe he's not quite Marcus, but he's pretty good.
Yeah.
And I just gave you the makings of a championship team.
Yeah.
Because this team on grit and guts and playoff experience, it's all there.
Yeah.
And that coach can coach.
Yeah.
He can just coach.
Very well
and he's
coached.
been doing it for a long time. And he still looks like a kid, and he coaches like an adult.
Yeah. Skip, I think the thing is, plus, they play very, very good defense, but it's not like they rim protect. They'll draw a bunch of charges. They turn you over. They do a good job. And because Bam is so athletic, they can switch to pick and roll, and Bam will jump out there on a guard.
Yep.
With no problem, slide, and he's going to challenge everything at the rim.
He will.
Remember, I think it was last year, Skip, maybe it was in the bubble, where he blocked Jason Tatum's dunk to preserve a victory.
All right.
So we know what Bam is. He's always going to be a defensive player of the year candidate. You're right. They're loaded, Skip. But every time I wanted to get behind them, they lose 3 or 4 games in a row.
Okay, but if you step back and look at the big picture, they're 5th in defensive efficiency. That'll work. If you're top 5, you got a shot. They're 4th in opponents' field goal percentage allowed. That'll work. They're 3rd offensively in what's called true shooting percentage, so they can shoot it.
Right.
They're first in the NBA in three-point shooting. Man, sometimes these games just become three-point shooting contests. As Doc always says, it's make or miss. Well, they can make a lot of threes on you, and they can make them in bunches and runs. And they're 2nd in three-point shooting defense.
Right.
So if you're 1st in makes and you're 2nd in stopping you from making,
you don't let the other team make them.
That gives you a shot.
Right.
They're also 5th in free throw shooting, which can apply
late ball
going
game.
forward. Okay. So I love that mix. And yet, Vegas does not love that mix because, to your point, you got the Suns, then you got the Bucks, then you got the Nets. So the top 3 odds makers' choices.
Right.
And you have to go all the way down to 10-1 for the Heat and all the way down to 14-1 for Memphis. 14-1?
Yeah.
I'm saying, give me some of that, please. So give me Memphis in the West. Give me the Heat in the East. And I'll just say, on just sheer experience, just on the Pat Riley factor, I will take Heat over Grizz in the finals. The Grizz are going to get back to several finals, and they will win them. They might win 2 or 3 finals before Ja is finished with this group.
Right.
But right now, I'll go Heat because I think they are perfectly positioned, laying in the weeds atop the East to win it all.
Well, Skip, I still believe Giannis is the best player, although I think from looking at the early indication is that Jokic is going to win on a back-to-back MVP. That's what it looked. That's the way it's trending.
I can't argue.
But Giannis, after what he did in the finals last year, 50 in the clincher, 3 of the 6 games that they played, he had 40 plus. And there's really, my question is, the Heat can do a good job because the Heat can build a wall. The Heat, everybody else is like, let Giannis play one-on-one. The Heat say, no, we're not going to let you play one-on-one. But Skip, now with Holiday.
Remember in the bubble,
yes,
they did a number on it.
Yes.
And if it comes to that, I believe they can do a number on him.
But you said you like the other guy, Middleton. You say he's their closer.
He is.
Holiday has been sensational. Holiday has been able to score the basketball.
They're really good.
Yes.
The more I watch them, the more I say, that's a really
with
good
Bobby
basketball
Portis
team.
and Brook Lopez.
I got it. Once they got Brook back now, they are formidable.
Mm-hmm.
Never loved the coach, but he's pretty good.
Right.
And yet, boy, do I love Spo. And Taylor Jenkins has really grown on me because I just like his poise. I like his demeanor.
Yeah.
There's a calm about him that they really feed off of.
Wow, you really went out on a limb.
Okay, I just told you. I can hear it creaking and cracking underneath me.
Heat, Grizz.
It's a long fall.
Grizz, I got Suns.
Yeah. Shannon went safe and safe. Safe and safer. Way to go. Congratulations. You got guts.
Now, if you told me one game.
It's going to be fun to watch.
I might have
Either
went a
way
different
it
direction.
shakes out, gentlemen. I can't wait for it to start.
Thank you for watching. You can subscribe here to get the latest from the show, and be sure to check out more of the best clips from Undisputed, or go watch a few other segments from our other shows on FS1.